in the esophagus, we have stratified squamous with many folds in it. So you're getting, as you look at some of these slides, you'll see fold after fold of the esophagus. Don't let that throw you off. Just look for that stratified squamous. And then an abrupt change to what I'm going to show you is simple columnar cells. You really can't tell this magnification, but I'm going to show you. So this is where the cardiac sphincter would be, where the esophagus now is the cardia of the stomach. And this is how abrupt the histology changes. So we'll move on over and I'll go to a higher magnification.
And what is this a slide of again?
Esophagus, stomach.
Okay.
Esophagus on this side with stratified squamous. This is the mucosa. I don't make you identify submucosa or muscularis on this one because we have way better ones. So usually I have this at the next magnification on the lab practical so that you'll be able to see now we have simple columnar cells lining the stomach. It would have a coat of mucus. We lose that in the preparation of the slide. And now here's a large gastric pit right here. So the lining of the cardia of the stomach would be smooth, except for these gastric pits. And the gastric pits move down and form a gastric gland. And you would find what we should see, very clear mucus cells, simple columnar cells that produce a lot of mucus. And then down within the gastric gland, the parietal cells, the chief cells, the G cells that produce gastrin, so the enteroendocrine cells. But that's all histology. We're not identifying those. But what? So the magnification, closer to the magnification, and again, close because with the camera. So, but stratified squamous, right? And then we're going to come over, and we're going to see simple columnar with a gastric pit moving into gastric glands. Gastric pit, gastric pit, gastric pit. And then somebody said, well, why don't you get that nice longitudinal cut? Well, this is a convoluted stomach. It might be on a Rougie or something. So you get a lot of, rather than nice longitudinal cuts of those gastric glands, you get a lot of oblique or cross sections, and then they just sort of look, other than a nice longitudinal section. So let's go one more. You wouldn't see this high on the lab practical, but let me get up here. So this is, it's way too big, but this is stratified squamous cells all the way to the top, sloughing off because you've got wear and tear in the esophagus. And now let's move over a little further and see if I can find some simple columnar cells and a gastric pit. Hopefully for the lab practical I can find a little better simple columnar cells than those. And here they're looking a little better, right? Simple columnar cells lining the stomach. On this slide, for the lab practical, I would always have part of the esophagus and part of the stomach. So you would see both of those organs. You'd have to tell the esophagus from the stomach, and you would identify that by the histology and the gastric pits that we'd find on this side but not find on this side. So stratified squamous, and then this abrupt change right there. And then we have simple columnar. This is lamina propria here. Lamina propria is way down here, but now we have the lamina propria here because we've gone from stratified to simple. And underneath the epithelial layer in a mucosa is a lamina propria. But it's different in the esophagus because of wear and tear as opposed to the stomach. Simple columnar. All right? Feel you're comfortable with that slide?